Hi, my name is Guy Siverson, and I'm going to take some time each time I go into a new book to tell you a little bit more about me. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about where my background and where my understanding of biblical understanding came from. This will be associated with the First John book. I'm currently doing chapter 5, but I've decided I'm going to do the entire book. Uh, and those will all be done in shorts and are available. I've got a link directory below in the description for you to be able to reference. So um, I would say I started out as a Methodist as a kid. And it was at that time that I saw a poster on my youth director's wall for First Corinthians 15. I believe they had like 54 through 58. That poster intrigued me at that time, um, but I was basically told that it was figurative language. I would learn later in my life that it wasn't actually figurative language. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But as a strong Methodist, I was invited by a friend to go to a Baptist church. Well, at a Baptist, one of the main differences, I mean, there are other, but one of the main differences between Methodist and Baptist that I have found is it involves baptism. Methodists largely, at least from my experience at that point, believed in sprinkling, whereas Baptists look at full body immersion as the way to be baptized. Um, there's a story here where I went to the Baptist church and I saw the curtain up front, and I was thinking, that must not be hiding the baptistry, right? And I got more and more upset as I was listening to the message that, yeah, in fact, that would be. And I asked my friend at the end um, if that's the case, and well, he confirmed it. And I was not happy. Um, I laid into my friend pretty strongly, but surprisingly, I was there the next week, and he was surprised to see me there. And I went forward for baptism that very next week. You see, what had happened between the 2 weeks is the Spirit of Jesus started working with me and showing me that, Jesus was immersed. Uh, John and his disciples baptized by immersion. The disciples of Jesus baptized by immersion. Interestingly enough, to my understanding, Jesus never baptized. Um, but they were all done by immersion. And so, why was I making an issue about immersion? I didn't know at that time. And since I've learned that immersion really is the way that baptism should be done. So, I spent several years in the Baptist movement. In fact, I went to the same church as Frank Graham during that process. Um, I was going to the Auburn Baptist Church in Auburn, Washington, and enjoyed it very much. Um, After graduation from high school, um, I went to school at Seattle Pacific University, um, which is a Methodist college. And during that time, I became an assistant pastor within Methodism. You see, there's not, yes, there are differences between Methodists and Baptists, but they weren't significant enough to impede me from being able to cross over between the two. At least that was my experience. Um, After graduation, I was welcomed into as a full time pastor, Christian ministry of the national parks. And my first assignment would be at the Grand Canyon. I was excited, very excited. Um, Unfortunately, I had severe car trouble on the way there, which caused me never to arrive there. Um, a great disappointment for me, to be sure. Um, I returned home and my life just started kind of going out of control at that point. Um, I joined the Foursquare uh, movement. Again, not significantly different from either Baptist or Methodist, other than Foursquare is much more charismatic, lively in their approach. It was during this time that I wanted to speak in tongues, and I kept on praying for tongues, and they just wouldn't come. We had a prophetess come to my church, and her whole focus was to get us to speak in tongues. Um, I went, and I decided this would be a good thing. Um, And while there, I was being prayed for within the large group. Then it became a smaller group, and then it became a smaller group. Each time the prophetess was coming back to me and saying, uh, you know, just keep on praying and whatnot. The last time she came back to me, um, she said, are you an educated man? I said, well, yes, I am. And she says, you're allowing your education to get in the way of your tongue. And I responded with, I said, wait, are you saying that God only wants stupid people? Now, that was the end of my desire to speak in tongues, even though I was in a tongue speaking church. Um, the next Sunday, um, I was worshiping at church when God spoke to me. And he said, do you really want to speak in tongues, don't you? And I said, well, yes, I do. Absolutely want to speak in tongues. It was at that point he said, well, what have I told you that you already are? Well, that came as quite a shock to me. Um, and I said, well, I'd love that news, but I'm not. He said, well, actually, you are. Because tongues is a known language and your sign language is your tongue. Wow, I was blown away, just incredibly blown away. Um, During this time, my wife was fighting cancer, and she went to a place called Eden Valley, which is in Colorado, to learn how to cook for cancer. Meanwhile, I was working at WAMU in Seattle, Washington, and started a Bible study, which involved a Mormon, a Jehovah's Witness, and a Seventh day Adventist, plus myself, who was a Foursquare holy roller, charismatic type at that point. And the questions that were coming from everyone really weren't too difficult for me. In fact, when the Adventists suggested we should worship on the Sabbath, or on Saturday, the seventh day, that's the true Sabbath. Well, that really just got me going. And um, I first of all told her we can worship on any day, it doesn't matter. And then I started digging in and whatnot, and was soon to learn that I really didn't have a biblical support for that position. Um, when my wife died, I then learned about the state of the dead, much against my will. And I transitioned at that point to becoming a Seventh day Adventist. I didn't really think that I would ever leave that movement. That was June 2024 and 2004. I'm like 2004. It's now 2025. Nearly 20 years I spent in that movement, um, until I started digging in and finding more that I couldn't agree with. And that's what's led me to my present day. It's actually one of the pivotal reasons why I've created this website, and I'm starting out by focusing on First John, the book of First John, because one of the core themes that I learned in that process, I believe everybody should know. And I'm going to be sharing that. Uh, One of the books that just really seems to bring this out better than any other, although it's all over the Bible, is the First John book. So that's what we'll be going into and what we'll be studying. I look forward to sharing that and more with you as this YouTube channel grows.